Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host via St. Louis, Missouri, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello again, Andy.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
Tell everybody what happened.
We banged out
First of all, this is a way better background that you're in now. Of all the backgrounds, the chili pepper, the basement, or grandma's couch. I think grandma's couch is you're sitting in front of a cuckoo clock. Are you in Christopher? Are you in Doc Brown's garage?
This clock has not been turned on. You have to turn. There's a key. It's not been turned on for so long.
And if you use the key to unlock the door, you can walk in it and go to the other side of the looking glass. Like, where are you right now?
In my TV room. Yeah. This has been this way for a minute. The design.
I feel like you're in Willy Wonka's office. You get nothing. Good day, sir.
Well.
So tell everybody what happened.
We banged out about an hour and 25-minute, really good episode, I thought. And I'm still new to the Zoom game, and I thought it processed, but it didn't. And I shut down my computer and then moved it upstairs, and it processed 38 seconds.
So now we have to do this all over.
So now I have to redo this, and you guys are going to get a real short episode today. Sorry, that is on me. But I want to say, Joe, I think there has been a maturation of me as a human because
you didn't destroy everything in your house,
and I didn't swear. I didn't even get angry. I just was very disappointed.
And I even said whatever. Like I don't know if that's a maturation for me. I think that's pretty much always who I've been. Like, well, it is what it is. But I was also like, yeah, we can run it back, or we could let it, or we can not do it. Whatever. The bottom line is, guys, we are doing this episode. It's going to be shorter because we lost the last one. Not just because we know that you guys want an episode and we would have gotten a million questions about where the episode was today, but also because, Andy and I have been manscaping and we want to talk about it.
Out the gate, Joe, you're so good and you're so correct. Today's episode of The Dirty Sports is brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. As Joe knows, the reopening is right around the corner, and there's a chance that no one's seen your balls in a few months. I can honestly say that about myself. I have not had the privilege of a lady seeing it for a while. So
didn't you just go on vacation with a lady?
I did, but that's a whole
platonic relationship.
Yes, that's a friend relationship right now.
Okay.
This whole ad read. Can we do this?
That's okay. Manscaped for your romantic partners, but also Manscaped for yourself.
That's right. Don't ruin your first quarantine date with the ball fro. Would you show up the first day of school without a haircut? I don't think you would, Joe Prano. And you know what I love is the Manscaped, they got the perfect package 3.0. It comes with that lawnmower, which I love, which is water resistant, and a cordless trimmer, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag cover, which I know you're using on your trip to St. Louis.
I am actually. I could go in the other room and get it for you if you wanted.
Dirtballs, treat yourself for making it through the quarantine with the Lawnmower 3.0. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DIRTY at manscaped.com. Once again, get 20% off and free shipping with the code DIRTY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code DIRTY. Your first date will thank you. And to be honest, just do it to yourself. Like just because there was a quarantine and stay at home, don't be a savage. Take care of your junk.
That's right. Well,
COVID.
Andy, it's a great episode. You can follow me on Instagram.
You're like, we've done our requirements and I'm done. Well, look, Joe, obviously we talked. I have the rundown. I have everything we discussed last episode.
Well, let's bang it out and quickly. I mean, I'll say something. I won't say every time that we get into something, not to repeat myself, because no one will hear that other episode except us. But one thing that I said last recording that I want to even start off this episode with is just know that Andy and I are sick of talking about coronavirus.
Yes.
And we're definitely sick of talking about racism in America. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot going on in sports today. I wish somebody would make another Last Dance or something so we could talk about anything else. But at this point, basically, the sports stories in America are who has coronavirus and when we will ever play sports again because of that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because you're exactly right. We're trying, guys. We're doing our best, and obviously we're currently in different cities, and these are the stories, and we don't want to repeat ourselves, but there have been some news stories, and kind of what we discussed on the last episode is kind of where we're at for sports, because I said August 16th is the Chargers' first preseason game, and we both agreed there is no way fans will be at that game. It's about 55 days from now. And all these college athletes from Clemson to LSU to Kansas State to in the pros to Phillies, Toronto Maple Leafs, the Bucks now, the Tampa Bay Bucks, all these different teams are getting COVID. And we basically said, at what point are we just going to let them play that when they're asymptomatic, or how it's even going to work out at this point?
And, it's a very difficult thing because it's just really hard to play when, like, even if you're asymptomatic right now, if you or I get tested and we currently have coronavirus, not had it before or whatever, if we get tested even without symptoms and we have it, doctors are going to recommend that we are quarantined for 2 weeks. So the idea that guys get tested, even the question of asymptomatic is they're obviously testing all of these guys to know whether or not people have it. They're not just testing guys who have a cough or a sore throat or have chest pains or whatever. They're testing everybody. So they're going to get results for who is sick and who is not sick, or who has the virus and not has the virus. And I think that that's going to be a major issue for these sports seasons getting underway. I don't think the leagues can say, Ezekiel Elliott got tested and he has coronavirus, but he's asymptomatic, so he's playing on Sunday. I don't think that's going to be how it works.
Well, again, my biggest fear is when you get major, enough major players, especially football, and you tell me these guys all have to sit out. Like that's a recipe for disaster. Now the alternative is just no sports. And
yeah,
we've obviously seen how we're going on about 3.5 months now of that. And that's been a disaster as well.
Right.
So it's a shitty position to be in. I'll just call it what it is. We're not in a good position right now. And you're right. I mean, can you imagine if there's a big Sunday night football game and the Packers are playing the Cowboys and Zeke can't play and Dak can't play and Aaron Rodgers can't play? I mean, it's a disaster, but I never thought about this until after we actually finished last episode. It also could create some interesting drama. Like, who's got the COVID this week? Who's in? Who's out? Like the injury report takes on a whole other element this year.
Well, and I think, the NFL season is so far away from starting at this point in September. I got to wonder if that's going to be a strategy. If you're the Cowboys and your players have it, like, give it to them all right now.
Yeah.
Get it out of the way, because we're a long way from football starting, and there's a lot that's going to happen how many people get it, how many people don't, what we learn about how it's spread, what we learn about whatever. I mean, just think about, again, 2 months ago, talking about, oh, if you touch your groceries, you're going to get it. It's going to get you. And now we're talking about, don't wear masks, wear masks. Don't wear. How many times have we gone back and forth on the wear a mask, don't wear a mask thing? And obviously the clip of Bill Burr, on Rogan going around is probably the best mask statement ever. He's like, I don't know. I check the TV. They tell me to wear a mask. I wear a mask. They tell me not to. I don't. Fine. But when it comes to basketball, the NBA is supposed to start in July. Baseball, Major League Baseball is over forever, so we'll leave them out of the equation. But like football, like between now and then, I mean, if you're smart, you almost let your whole team get it.
The Swedish model, what, herd immunity, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Football goes straight Sweden.
Yeah. Well, because it's America, because we're talking America and sports, we'll call it Colin Cowherd immunity.
What about NFL games playing in empty IKEA warehouses?
Ooh, that's interesting.
What about that, right?
Yeah.
Like, IKEA is huge.
And Brady back to pass and Skarsgårded. Russell Wilson rolling out to the right, and oh no, he's Hackensplad. Why do they even name the fucking items at IKEA? Like, none of them are pronounceable.
No,
they're just like put 11 A's in there. Just figure out how to get 11 A's in there.
So I don't know, man, and I think, again, I am concerned. You had said you think it matters most with basketball concerning having fans. I said I think the sport greatest affected is football, because I just think the fans play such an important role, especially on the opposing team's offenses, that the thought of watching NFL or college football games without fans,
I mean, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. It'll be different, and it will definitely have an effect. I think it'll have an effect in all sports in terms of some home field. What I was saying was, I think the home court advantage in basketball, being in closed arenas, and also, with the NBA having whatever it is, 15 games or something like that, 12 games, and then going to the postseason, is going to have a huge effect because, you're playing playoff series.
Yeah.
And in basketball, getting 4 games at home versus 3 on the road, I think especially in the basketball playoffs, it has a huge advantage. I think probably more so than hockey, in the same size arenas. In football, like I said on the episode we lost, I think it's a factor for particular teams. Obviously, we all know about those a lot of the indoor stadiums, like the domes. They tend to be more difficult to hear when the crowds are going crazy. But you never really hear like, oh my God, people are really struggling to hear at the Houston Texans game this week. It's always like, the Falcons and New Orleans and Indianapolis and whatever. So then, of course, you have the outdoor stadiums that have good fans, like your boys up in Seattle. But I really feel like we're talking about 6 or 7 teams in the NFL where, like, home field really is I feel like the crowd is a factor. I think.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think even the
like I think about my Giants in the NFC East. Like, I don't think the Giants have an advantage being at home. I don't think the Giants have a disadvantage being in Washington or Philly or Dallas. Let's talk about like the AFC West. Like, the Chargers definitely don't have a home field advantage. They probably have a home field disadvantage. Obviously, the Chiefs do. I would say the Broncos are kind of borderline. I'd say the Raiders maybe.
The Raiders will in Vegas, man, in that dome.
Is that full? Is that fully enclosed? That field?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Because it's 100,000 degrees there.
Yeah. The outside's going to look like the same way that, like the Mandalay Bay and some of those hotels look. Whatever that like black glass that they put on. It
Yeah.
does something with the sun. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I'm real curious because no plans have been put out there for college football for the NFL. I'm real curious how this plays out at this point, because it is July next week, and it's sooner than later. I know what you're saying, but it's still sooner than later. Now the NBA, or no, before we do the NBA, Hard Knocks will feature both teams in LA in what I'm deeming a huge NFL ploy again to just really shove that LA stuff down.
I mean, they did the LA Rams. I'm surprised that they're doing the Rams again because they just did the Rams. I mean, they definitely shoved the Rams down our throat when they moved to LA a couple of years ago with Hard Knocks. It seemed like obviously the new stadium is big. You think they would have just done the Chargers then?
Yeah. So they're going to do Rams and the Chargers.
And do you think this is a matter of like, so on, like, let's say Hard Knocks is usually what, Tuesdays?
Correct.
Or something like that. So is Tuesday going to be an episode about the Rams and the Chargers, and then a week off, and then an episode about the Rams and the Chargers next Tuesday?
I don't know. It's a great question.
Because maybe that's a coronavirus thing. Maybe they just think they won't have the access, and they're going to need basically 2 teams worth of content to fill the amount of time they did before.
Here's what I do want to see. I want to see a guest appearance by Jeff Fisher in his flip-flops with the surfboard in the background. Call back to 2016's Hard Knocks. I also want to see if Jared Goff has learned.
Jeff Fisher. I just want to see Jeff Fisher with that surfboard in the background, cutting people from the surf shop he apparently works at now. Like, what is Jeff Fisher doing? Does Jeff Fisher have a gig?
He's fly fishing in Montana for real.
Okay.
That's what he's doing. I also want to see if Jared Goff has learned where the sun sets.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he's
like, I've been living here long enough. I know it sets that way. And they're like, which way is that way? He's like,
ocean.
I don't know.
Where the ocean is. I wonder if they can somehow incorporate the infamous medium pizza Jared Goff into the new season of Hard Knocks.
Oh, we should try to make, I mean, since both are going to take place in LA, we should try to make an appearance on Hard Knocks one way or the other. Maybe you as a season ticket holder.
Forget that. I'll deliver him a pizza.
We'll just do a drive-by. Just I'll man the wheel of your Corolla like I had been for a month and a half while you were gone, and then you'll just stick your head out the sunroof and throw a medium pizza at him.
I love how you think I have a sunroof.
I mean, I knew you didn't, but I was trying to.
Hey, let's not exaggerate. I got the basics on that Corolla hatchback. I'm no Walt Ruther and his Acura RDX with a sunroof that literally covers the entire car, which I've never seen before, basically.
That's dope. I love those.
Yeah.
Mikey had a Mercedes SUV back in the day with a custom sunroof that went the whole way back, and it was dope.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. Okay, so Hard Knocks, LA, we'll be there. We don't know what they're going to film. We don't know how it's going to go down. Will they discuss race relations in Hard Knocks? I think it's a legitimate question because they're talking about the Chargers with maybe working out Kaepernick at some point. You have Anthony Lynn, a black head coach. What does the NFL say for them to stay away from?
I think the conversation of race and the Kaepernick thing and kneeling for the anthem and all that stuff, that's going to be a story again this year. I think a wager will be mentioned more than coronavirus this year. I think it's going to be a major thing in the NFL. And I got to say, like I said before, Andy, we don't want to talk about race on the show every damn episode. It's just, what else is there to talk about? We'll obviously get to the NASCAR news later on and stuff, but I think that this is a major thing going to be in the NFL this year. And
all sports.
And look, I love that the owners basically are forcing Roger Goodell to take an L, where 2 years ago they had him basically being like Mr. Rah-Rah Flag America. They're blackballing Colin Kaepernick, and now the players have made a statement, and Roger Goodell has to say that statement word for word, like he's a hostage situation. He's reading a hostage note, and now he's saying, well, players should feel free to express themselves however they want. We welcome Colin Kaepernick back in the league. We hope he gets a chance. It's like, this is the fattest L anyone's ever taken, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I love it. And by the way, every shithead who ever tweeted us or tweeted in general or posted a stupid YouTube video being like, this is about patient, like, you're all taking the most gigantic L's. Every player is going to kneel week one. Everyone. Every single player.
It's crazy where it's gone. I mean, when you have Hall of Famers from Mississippi like Brett Favre saying that ultimately –
he said Kaepernick is Pat Tillman of today.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's done such a full circle, which is crazy. And that makes it even funnier that our president continues to, I mean, bring it up in his speeches and tweets. Like it's, I don't get angry. I just laugh. Like, I'm like, dude, homeboy's still tweeting. Like, he's still tweeting.
Bro, I mean, the whole, like, the thing with Trump, it's just, I mean, I really don't want to talk politics as much.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Because, I think both people running, both candidates for president of the United States are complete and total boobs.
And rapists.
I mean, yeah, Bill O'Brien would 100% fit right in as a third-party candidate for president of the United States. He couldn't be more like the two guys who are running for president.
No, you know what this is? This is like, the presidential race is Bill O'Brien versus Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, totally. And except they're both rapists, like you said. And allegedly. Anyway, but the thing about Trump, Trump is just unbelievable. I mean, there was less people at that Trump rally than there are at like a Bobcats game.
It's so entertaining though, dude.
There's no one there. And he literally showed that he could, like, part of his big speech was like showing people that he could drink a glass of water, and then he threw the glass of water away.
But that's what I'm saying. It's so entertaining, and like people get so turned and like worked up over it.
And TikTok kids are trolling him, and K-pop stans. It's the best thing ever.
K-pop stans, and
no one went.
Oh, absolutely amazing. By the way, I know we're going to make this a short episode. I got to tell you about my Lyft ride. I had a Lyft driver who was either he couldn't see, or he was drunk, or he was high. I got a full refund from my trip on Friday.
Because he was erratically driving, or
dude, he was going. I was in downtown Cincinnati, and I was going back to my dad's house, which is like, it's close. It's like a 15-minute drive from downtown. He was driving. He had to be high. He was driving so slow. And I kept being like, I do not feel safe in this guy's car. He kept like squinting his eyes and like looking where to go on his phone. And then on my actual street, I go to left and he goes, I know. And he takes this wide turn. He almost ran into a parked car at midnight on my street. I said, bro, just let me out here. Just let me out here. And I've never had a more terrifying experience. Because, like, we're going on a bridge across the Ohio River twice.
Did Will Kallenbach drive you home from downtown Cincinnati?
No, again, this guy was driving slow. He wasn't going 100 miles an hour straight.
But he almost hit a parked car on your street.
True. Wild, though. Like, you ever had to fill out one of those reports? I was like,
yeah, I have.
Like, they sent me a message like, we don't refund people. And then they followed it right back up with, well, in this case, I think we will.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. Okay, Prano. So we're talking cars. That's a good segue into NASCAR. They found a noose in Bubba Wallace's, like, garage or whatever it is. I don't know, NASCAR areas. And a lot of people were saying it was planted. A lot of evidence would say, hey, it's not. It's NASCAR. It's a bunch of racist. I said on the last episode, I'm going to kind of sit this one out and just see how it plays out.
And I said it's really neither here nor there about this specifically, but the evidence certainly points toward some sort of racist dickhead because, and again, I don't want to talk about race on this show all the time. I've gotten an angry message from dirtballs, and I've gotten threatened about people, and you're a blah, 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 and like all the things people want to say to me. I don't want to do this every episode, but the bottom line is we're talking about one of the major sports in America, whether you like it or not, and they banned the Confederate flag. And prior to the whole news thing, many people, there's pictures and videos, pics and vids to steal from our friend Robert Littell, that they brought their Confederate flags out en masse outside of the events because they're going to be like, oh, we can't do it in there, but we can do it out here and we'll show you. And it's like, again, miss me with everything about the Confederate flag unless you are literally one of the two guys who was cast as the Dukes of Hazzard in the 70s. You're not allowed to rock the Confederate flag at all anymore. It's just a symbol of racism.
Well, again, and not only that, you lost. Like, you lost.
Come on in.
You lost the war. The Confederate flag is a symbol of a country or a failed succession from a country that lost.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you don't see Joe walking around wearing a 2015 New York Mets runner-up T-shirt. That's the equivalent. It literally is the equivalent of a runner-up T-shirt.
I'm being handed a baby, Andy.
There is a baby on the podcast. Is this a first?
This is our youngest ever Dirty Sports guest right here.
And who do we have on camera?
This is Olivia.
So a little dirt ball?
Yeah, little dirt ballette.
How many months?
The world's youngest dirt ball. What, 6 months old? 9 months old?
Well,
looking at her Aunt Colleen to go back out.
I heard the garage door open, and he's going to be surprised to see me here. The world's oldest dirt ball, Walt Ruther, might be walking in here in a split second.
The opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. So, look, man, there's a bad history. They obviously had to remove the flag for a reason. So if you're one of those Jesse Smollett kind of stuff, just let it play out. And there's not good reason. There's not good reason to say that when your history has when your sport has a bad history of racism.
And also, like, you know, the Jussie Smollett thing was one of the most ridiculous, like, plans ever. But everybody from the beginning was like, this is the weirdest story of all time.
Yeah.
And like I said, last episode the episode that we lost to whatever, is this news thing is not a rarity on the level of, you know, 2 Nigerian MAGA guys beat me up and stole my lunchbox or whatever his story was.
Yeah.
Nooses are being hung all over the place. This is one of the new things that's happening in the racist rights side of this argument is responding by hanging nooses places, including dozens of them being hung in a park in Harlem.
Yeah. So I don't even know why you'd get defensive to begin with.
And by the way, Andy, I don't know if you saw, did you see what the NYPD said about the nooses in Harlem?
I did not.
That they were leftover rope from piñatas.
Piñata, huh?
Piñatas, yeah. And I responded to our buddy Ned, who shared the story on Twitter, by saying, yeah, you didn't know that this is the new thing. Beating piñatas is antiquated. Like, assaulting them is not how you get the candy anymore. You have to choke them to death until they give up the candy themselves, till they choke the candy out.
I mean, I'll tell you what, we had this in the Lost episode. I said piñatas are one of the most underrated and underappreciated things that have come from the Mexican culture. Who does not have a piñata and not have
And
fun?
I would say, forget the Mexican culture. I think it's one of the most underrated things that have come from any culture. It's just candy filled paper mache that you beat to death until the candy is revealed.
My dad is chiming in. I can't hear a word he's saying because I got the air. He almost wanted to chime in on the piñatas, but I don't know what he's saying. What I think is we should have got a piñata for Father's Day.
I think we need a dirty sports piñata that is full of dirty sports prizes.
Like what?
I don't know, koozies, dirty sports t-shirts, merch, and then like when people come, they get. But like it should be like a really well-made piñata, and when people pay the $100 to come in, they get one hack at it with a wiffle ball bat.
One hack?
One hack.
I think we should have piñatas that are full of COVID tests. So like you knock the piñata out.
COVID swabs?
Yeah. Is that how they test you? The swabs?
I mean, I think there's a bunch of different ways now. My girlfriend got like a mouth swab as opposed to the nasal one that goes and touches your brain.
What's the turnaround time on that?
I think a couple days.
Couple days.
Have you been tested?
No, I'm thinking about it though.
Yeah. I think maybe for me is doing it when I get back to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be tomorrow.
Which by the way, for me is supposed to be August 3rd, in case the Dirtballs want to know.
Because you're coming here to St. Louis.
I will be in St. Louis the last weekend of basically July 31st to August 3rd. I'll be in St. Louis. And then I'll be back in LA. But
And what is that? That's like a bachelor party or something, or?
No, it's just me and my college buddies. Like I got a real tight group of friends.
Doing social distancing dude bro things.
There'll be no social distancing. Lots of bro things though.
Yeah.
He's got a place and a pool, so lots of bro stuff. But I'll be excited to get back. I mean, it's been so long. I feel like I've been in Cincinnati for 6 months.
Yeah. I am interested to see what's going on in Los Angeles when we get back there.
When's the last time you were there?
Well, I was there for a day on last Monday and into Tuesday morning. And fun story about I don't think it's like race protests related, but somebody has been attacking the windows of my building. People have been throwing objects through the windows of my building. So the last thing I did before I left was board up my windows.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Now you said again in the Lost episode, you had a great theory. I don't even know if it's a theory that the Ruther Curse is back and it's better than ever. The fact that I have season tickets, the first time I've ever got season tickets ever for
anything. Now, so you have tickets to every single Chargers game, and now fans in sports have been banned entirely.
Completely.
That is taking Ruther Curse to the next level, dude.
Yeah. Like
you really need to start using this for good. I mean, I know it's hard to fake it, but you really need to start using this for good.
But that's the point. It's genuine. And your point about I leave and Mildred doesn't have a homeless person on it now.
Yeah. No more homeless people on Mildred after you left.
What's going to happen when I come back?
I know what's going to happen to Cincinnati. I feel like the second you leave Cincinnati to fly back to Los Angeles, there's going to be a tidal wave that takes out the Eastern Seaboard and makes Cincinnati like the new Hamptons. Your dad's house is going to be coastline.
That'd be amazing.
Like 3 days after you leave, he's going to be like, my property value just went up like tenfold.
I'd come right back. Where are you at, Joe? Okay, you're pre-Nostradamus.
Yeah.
Where do you think I'm living in 2021? Give me some odds. Give me some percentages.
It's a great question. In 2021, I think.
Okay, we'll start off with in the city of Los Angeles and then in the state of California.
I will say that you start 2021 in Los Angeles.
Really?
I think, well, here's the thing. I think you're going to get back in August. You're not going to move the second you get back.
No.
Next thing you know, it'll be September. football starts, and then Andy Ruther's just chugging along, doing Andy Ruther things, screen grabbing videos from his TV on Sundays, churning out sports content.
Well, I've said, there's no rash decisions. 2021 is a reassessment. So we'll see. You got a few months to win me over, LA, Cali. I'm going in with an open mind, but I'm just saying. I keep chirping in your ear on text. There is a lot of good towns all over the like you have been saying it all along. And to your credit, I was the one who was hell-bent stuck in LA, but now that's changed.
Yeah, and I feel like I've got I feel like one thing that coronavirus has done for me, it's like I'm the guy in Office Space after he's been hypnotized. I'm just like, whatever, man. Like, I don't know. I don't care. It is what it is. I just keep saying it is what it is to everything, which is such a vague and useless term. But like, unless comedy clubs are open, like, what's the point of being a comedian in LA? I mean, comedy clubs are open in Phoenix, Arizona, but they're not open in Los Angeles. So technically, if you're a comedian, you'd be better off being in Phoenix, Arizona right now than in Los Angeles. And we talked about it on the episode. Maybe we will talk about it again. We got a question about everything that's going on with Comedy Store Comics right now and all that. But like, what is even being a comic in LA now? And like, there's no one's got, like, there's no community. First of all, everybody's out to help themselves. Everybody's throwing each other under the bus, but also no clubs are open.
It's not just stand-up.
I say that as Eddie Ift calls me.
Yeah. Well, it's not just stand-up, You're seeing improv theaters closing, improv schools. I mean, the whole comedy world. I mean, we are at a point in history, and I don't say that lightly because I mean it, and I think you agree, and you know this, Joe. I mean, even just taking 3.5, 4 months off. Comedy's like sports. It's like working out. Like, you got to flex that muscle. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these people have taken all this time off. You're not just going to get right back to being as great as you were, even the best.
And can you even talk about certain topic? I'm not talking about topics in terms of like cancellation or whatever, but like, how important is some of the stuff that we were talking about going forward when you consider everything that's going on with the virus, with race, with politics? I understand that comedy is still a getaway for a lot of people, but like, if you're up there going,
my Tinder profile, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I don't think people are going to be into it.
I mean, first of all, I think 70% of comedians have lost their careers just because no one's been able to go on a Tinder date for a while. So goodbye to hacks everywhere. Bye forever.
Yeah. I mean, I'm real curious to where it goes from a personal and also a fan point of view. And it's the same way with sports. I mean, have you really sat down and thought you've had sports removed for almost 3.5 months now, what that's done to you psychologically? And I'm not even making a joke here, because as people who watch it all the time, and suddenly we've taken this out of our life, and at some point we're going to put it back in. I've thought, like, what's that effect?
I think it's going to have a similar effect to me. And I hate to say this, especially to our fans of our sports podcast, who obviously are still, if you're still listening to this 3 months into a pandemic where we haven't had any sports whatsoever, you have a sick sports addiction. And you are going to be the person that comes back. But like, for me, feel like this is going to be like when I take a break from drinking for a month or two. I always come back and I'm less of a drinker from that point on. Like, I think it's going to be hard. I think when sports return, I'm going to be as excited as I've been for a while, but I feel like I'm not going to have the like obsession with sports that I have for a lot of my life after this, just because it's like, in a way, it is nice to like get away, and it is nice to not have to focus on this all the time. It is nice. It is nice to open. I mean, the social media is a cesspool right now of terrible opinions on a lot of other stuff. But honestly, I got to say, it's been nice not to open Twitter and have some asshole yelling at me about my sports opinions.
I mean, yeah, I think these are all fair points. And part of me thinks there's a good chance that I'll feel the same way. Obviously, I love sports. I've always loved sports, and they've been such a vital part of my entire life. But you learn how to adapt, right? You learn how to evolve and adjust as humans. That's just.
But baseball's out of the mix with no sign of it returning. Baseball is going to lose fans.
You really think they're just not going to play?
Yeah, I really think they're not going to play. And honestly, I hope they don't play. I hope the players don't play, because to let the owners off the hook by coming back and playing 50 games, to let the owners scam you into a 50-game season when players have been saying, let's play ball, it would be shameful. And so I hope they don't play. And I think they're going to lose fans. I think this is going to be the worst thing that happened to baseball since the last strike, since steroids. And I think it's deserved. And it's going to be hard for me. It's going to be hard to come back to baseball to the level of excitement that I have had the last few years with how good, some of the players, at least on my favorite team, have been, from DeGrom to Alonso, all that stuff. Like, it's going to be hard for me to care that much. And I stopped caring about college football a long time ago because I wanted Saturdays free again. The NBA is going to come back. They're going to finish. And I think the NBA will be exciting to go right in the playoffs. But it's going to be hard to care that much again. I mean, we talk about LeBron James' career is winding down. I mean, sure, there's a couple seasons left. But for me, as a Knicks fan and a guy who thinks he's watching the greatest player to ever play, the Knicks aren't going to be good anytime soon. There's a chance 3 years from now, LeBron's not playing, the Knicks are still a total disaster. Like, yeah, I'll still care about the NBA, but, like, I won't have any rooting interest whatsoever.
Well, and another thing is, I thought we'd have things figured out more. And I thought this would be, maybe a 2020 thing. I just don't know if that's going to be the case anymore. Yeah. I don't think it is. I've kind of projected in my own head to the future, you know what I'm saying? Not just myself personally, but 2020, you know what I'm saying? Like, Joe, where does this leave all these sports in 2021?
It's going to be changed forever.
And
the sooner we get back to like a normalcy of people being able to attend games, of seasonal normalcy, like that we don't have a ton of overlap. I mean, let's talk about baseball coming back and competing with the end of basketball season and the start of football season. You may as well light baseball on fire. Who's going to that? Who's watching that? I'm a huge baseball fan, but the NBA playoffs are on and week 1 of the NFL's on. You're checking box scores.
Yeah. And I think the owners know that they would have a huge uphill battle to climb. It's just not going to work out. Well, look, Joe, I know we made it rapid fire.
We did rapid fire. The episode that we lost was way better than this episode. It happens. You can't recreate greatness. You know what, Andy? I know you said you were going to save some of the questions for the next show, but I think we should hop into this comedy question because I think it's timely and I think it'll be wasted. I think it'll be wasted if we push it. We can answer the other questions and stuff on a future episode.
Okay.
DM Andy personally. DM us at The Dirty Sports on Instagram and Twitter. You can message me at Joe Prano on Instagram, at Fix Your Life on Twitter. Paid questions like Austin O'Neill sent us via Venmo always moves you to the top of the list. But there is one question that we got regarding kind of cancel culture and everything that's going on in comedy right now. And I'd love to get it out before it's like kind of old news.
Yeah, for sure.
Not that cancel culture is going to be old news anytime soon.
Well, it's a DM question from David Barry. He said he wants to know our commentary on the LA comedy scene especially big names at the Comedy Store, as people try to cancel them. And I assume
And
he's talking, obviously, everybody. Last week, a lot of people were in the news. Chris D'Elia, Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz,
Jeff Ross is kind of quietly in the news.
Jeff Ross. So, I mean, you can start. You already said some things earlier.
Yeah. And, what I mostly wanted to say is there's a couple of different issues at work here. And Andy and I have been pretty outspoken on cancel culture in general. And it's a nightmare. The idea of going back, even with athletes, going back to people's tweets from 15 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever, and saying, look what this person said, or going back and, if Lorne Michaels put something on the air 20 years ago, then it was something that the idea of somebody getting canceled over it now is ridiculous. The idea that Jimmy Fallon has to come out and apologize for doing blackface. Meanwhile, like Jimmy Kimmel's not apologizing for doing Karl Malone. It's just, we talked about it. The hypocrisy of everything is ridiculous. But most importantly for me, the same way Matt Damon took a lot of heat when he said that every Me Too issue isn't the same. Saying somebody who raped somebody is the same as somebody who, pinched somebody's butt is ridiculous. And that's the same thing that goes for these comedy, the comedy cancellations. The idea that we're talking about potentially like sexual predators, like, and again, I believe that, every one of these cases should have an opportunity. I don't like Chris D'Elia. Fuck him. He was a dick to me. But like, I'm also not just like canceling him on a whim because She Rates Dogs shared some tweets about it. By the way, fuck Chris D'Elia. I totally believe that it's possible that this could happen. He dresses like my nephew. So like the idea of a 30-plus-year-old guy who dresses like he's 11 is into young girls, totally reasonable. At the same time, I haven't even spent the time to like read a bunch of tweets about it because I don't care. But the idea of trying to cancel Chris D'Elia and Jeff Ross for potentially like sleeping with teenagers, and at the same time like bringing like Joe Rogan into it for laughing at somebody's bit, and I'm not a Joe Rogan fan either. It's not the same thing. It's like, and the idea that like, and also like kind of bringing us into it. There are now women and people on the internet just saying every male comedian's a scumbag. And I'm like, hey, I don't listen to Rogan. I don't hang out with D'Elia. I have nothing to do with any of these people. And actually, by choice, I don't hang out at the Comedy Store. I don't kiss ass. I'm not going around like begging to be in this group of people who all circle jerk each other's podcasts and go, you're going to listen to me on this podcast and then his podcast with this guy on it. And it all goes, and 10 guys telling the same stories all the time and joking around about Chris D'Elia being a pedophile. It's like, this doesn't have anything to do with me. I treat people with respect. I treat people with kindness, and it's really important. Something to note is be careful of the guys who don't ever make a joke that you find offensive. They're probably the guys that are doing something terrible. Do I have a misogynistic joke in my act at some point? Some people would say, me saying, oh, female referees are going to, not tell you what they're mad about. Like, I've had a girlfriend tell me that was her least favorite joke, that it was offensive to women. Okay, but guess what? I treat women with respect and kindness. I'm basically a serial monogamist. I'm always dating somebody. It's just the idea that everybody is trying to cancel everybody simultaneously and acting like Joe Rogan laughing at a 70-year-old man doing blowjob jokes is the same thing as Chris D'Elia potentially like sleeping with 15-year-olds. and that somehow I'm involved because I'm a male comedian. Now I'm on watch. What did I do? All I ever did was avoid all of these people.
Well, the hypocrisy has been my main issue with all this, whether it's entertainment, sports, politics. Everyone's a hypocrite, and everyone needs to just own it. We're all hypocrites. And this virtue signaling is so ridiculous. And these people who make it their life to go after other people's livelihoods, or like you said, to just blatantly associate, it's absurd.
Yeah.
I stand by what I've always stood by of judging the individual, right?
I mean, I think cancel culture is out of control. I think if you're a part of the mob, you're out of control. I think there's a lot of people, men and women, that are trying to jump on board to say, look at me, like I am not the person that I'm somebody you can trust. I would never do this. In fact, I'm going to shit on that person who did it. I'm not going to shit on Chris D'Elia, not because I think he did anything right. He probably did something wrong. I don't give a shit. And if you're out there telling me that I'm part of the problem, no, I am part of the solution. I have been telling you not to give a shit about Chris D'Elia forever.
Well, and these armies don't realize when you go after people like, I want to talk about Rogan and Joey Diaz for a second, you're not canceling them. They don't care. They have strength in numbers. They have loyalty. They have a very rabid fan base. They have,
and Joey Diaz has never been on network television
and
ever,
doesn't care
and is never going to be
and doesn't want to be. And that's
what are you canceling Joe Rogan from? His Spotify deal? And then he has to go back and just continue to make $19 million an episode selling his own ads?
Look, man, I'm a huge fan, obviously, of Rogan's podcast. I like Joey Diaz a lot. Like, I'm a huge fan of both those guys, and I love that. Because what's so great in 2020, because we talk about a lot of the bad things, is that you can control your own platform. And that's what these guys are doing. And they have an audience, and they do what they want. And they're untouchable. I'm just going to say it right now. Like, those guys are untouchable. Who's like you said, Joey Diaz he's not on a sitcom. He's not on a sitcom.
They tried to cancel Howard Stern. It's like, dude, Howard Stern has provided you with 40 years worth of cancelable stuff. Good luck. What happens when you cancel Howard Stern? You think Sirius is canceling? So Sirius is going bankrupt?
Yeah.
Because they're like, it's not happening.
Yeah. Spotify just invested upwards, they say, to $200 million into Joe Rogan. Yeah. Good luck. Good luck.
And you know what? Like, I'm just sick and tired of hearing, like, the best part about being in comedy is that you're one man and you're a microphone and you're doing your thing. Or when we're podcasting, Andy, it's me and you and two microphones and a thing. And I've done podcasts with Chris Wilde and Lachlan. And Chris Wilde's not even a comic per se, but and Eddie Ift and Lachlan. I'm friends with like 5 comedians. And that's the thing. That's the beauty of comedy. I have nothing to do with any of these people. So you could be a fan of Joe Rogan. You could be a fan of Chris D'Elia. You could be a fan of Jeffrey Ross. I don't care. I'm in comedy because I want to do my comedy. I don't have anything. And like, ladies, if you're in comedy and you're complaining about how you've been treated, why did you expect these people to treat you well? Everybody is garbage. I've never gotten treated well by anybody. When's the last time a comedian helped you do anything, Andy? No one's giving me a leg up. The Comedy Store's ever been like, Joe, oh man, you're a straight white dude. Come on and be a paid regular.
Yeah.
It's not how it works. I have 5 friends in comedy, and the most any of them have provided for me is Eddie Ift or Lachlan Patterson bringing me on the road for $800 for the weekend. Yeah. And guess what? If one of them comes out as a racist or a pedophile, $800 doesn't buy my silence. Not that either of them are a pedophile. Probably not.
Eddie.
Yeah. If any of them are racist, it's probably Eddie. But like, I think he's owned that, you know?
Look, man, when I see all this stuff, when I've been removed the last 45 days.
That was a joke, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
For everybody who doesn't know jokes.
It makes me want no part of that business, I'll be honest. I mean, it's true. Like I've been here 45 days and I've enjoyed my time and I enjoy doing this show with you.
And that's what I agree with you, Andy. Like, we just got to do our thing.
And I'm serious. And that's how I feel. And like, obviously you and I have aspirations of maybe some other things in Hollywood, but at the end of the day, I don't care enough about that as much as I do about what we're doing here.
And look, I do care about my personal career, and I do care about that stuff. And I ended the episode we lost saying this, and I'll say it again. This should be this whole pandemic and this whole cancel culture and whatever should be a great moment for everybody to reset and come back. Like, support the things that you care about. I hope that you're listening to this show because you like us and you like Dirty Sports. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Come see a show. Tell your local comedy club you want to see me, because I'm a fucking good guy, and I don't have the All Things Comedy Network holding me up, or all being a paid regular at the Comedy Store holding me up, and a bunch of people helping a bunch of their friends out. That's not me. I'm the Dirty Sports Podcast guy, and I do stand-up. And if you want me to come to your town and not hook up with your teenage children, I'm there. I'm the guy to call. So I hope you do support people that you like, and stop being convinced to like someone because there's a gross, broken network of executives and or people that are hoisting them up.
Yeah. Well, look, let's get you out of here.
Go see a comedian because he's funny, not because he's, I don't know, a wrestler who does a podcast with a comedian who's funny.
On that note, let's wrap it up. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Dirty Sports. You can follow me at Andy Ruther. Joe Prano, follow him at Fix Your Life on Twitter and at Joe Prano on Instagram. That's the show. Thank you for doing double duty with me today, Prano. Dirtballs, sorry that I lost that episode. You missed some gems, I will say. You missed an amazing bit about Bill Belichick running an HGTV show. But hey.
You can't, but you know, there's no redo button on the Genius switch.
No, there isn't. All right, Dirtballs, have a great week. Stay safe. And as always, stay dirty.